Please welcome Groq software engineer, Jose Menendez.
Hi, everyone. Mike is on. Yeah, Mike is on. Very glad to be here with you guys. I'm Jose from Groq. I'm an engineer on the cloud team. And what I'm about to talk about today is a little journey from what's all this AI craze about to a safe spot when you guys are very sure about what LLMs are, chips, GPUs, CPUs, LPU, what's that? What about RAG? We've heard that a couple of times already, I'm pretty sure. What's inference and why low latency inference matters, because that's ultimately what we do. Okay, let's do a quick AI catch up, okay? Let me see hands. Who uses ChatGPT or similar on a daily basis? Pretty good there, okay? Who hasn't? Who's like, not really, not for me? No hands. We're in the right spot, okay? Now, who has or has been in a meeting recently talking about security concerns about AI and LLMs? Let me see hands. That's quite a bit, okay? And buzzwords, LLMs, RAG, tokens. Who has heard about all these terms recently? Who's sick of hearing about this? No, just kidding. I like to visualize tokens like this. Like, it's one of these things that at this point I'm afraid to ask, what is that about? Watch them right now. These are tokens, right? It's fairly to say that one token is about a word. It depends on the algorithm that people were using for training the model and whatnot. But it's kind of safe to say, a word the token is about a word. Now, why tokens matter for people like me that are dealing with all this stuff all day? Well, tokens are the thing that's on the wire when you're talking to LLMs, right? ChatGPT uses different models. And you might be hearing about open source models like Llama from Meta, right? Tokens go in and tokens go out. And that's an important measure because people like us or other providers charge on a token base, right? So I'm always talking to my kids about saving energy. When you talk to engineers, think about don't waste the tokens, right? Speaking of open source models, in Groq, we're all about open source models. It's pretty much what helped us being in the map. And there's certain conversion there. It's not always about words. We also have images. We also have audio, right? And it's basically the same, different format. At the end of the day, everything is bits in, bits out. But it's important to understand that sometimes you have text to text, sometimes you have image to text, or we now have having RAG models that support vision, both vision and transcription, right? The important part here is it's not always, AI. You saw a few examples as well. AI is not all about chatbots. I like this example. It's an app that one of our developer friends created. It's like it's an app where you enter any topic, and it creates a whole study plan for you, right? I think this example we were talking about physics, and then you can go deep into it. You can develop yourself on the particular topic. So it's not all about how are these things being used? What's the typical architecture? Now, these days, after LLMs are here, we have the customer talking to your app, and now the LLMs are a big component of the app, right? The, we have now categorized on this on this particular architecture other providers, like for example SingleStore, and you have your AWS services, your Microsoft Azure services, and so on. But now you have one more provider. It's an LLM provider. It's doing inference for you, and sometimes training, but it's a different topic, especially for us at Groq. In Groq, we're all about speed, right? If you've heard about Groq, it's because we're constantly breaking the speed records of inference. So let's talk about speed and the chips. Why are we talking about GPUs all the time on AI, right? We know the CPU, that it's on every computer and whatnot, but we now hear about GPUs a lot. Why? Because this simple data point. For AI stuff, generalized, GPUs are 100 times faster, sometimes more, right? So imagine having a car that's 100 times faster than yours right now. It's kind of difficult to comprehend. But enter LPU. In Groq, we designed the LPU for one particular thing that's called inference. I've talked about this already a few times, and you're going to keep hearing about this. Inference is what happens when you talk to the model. The LPU, as opposed to the GPU, by the way, interesting data point, the G in GPU, it stands for graphics, which used to stand for geometry. So GPUs are something that was born for geometry, but it's now being used for AI stuff. The Groq LPU is fully purposed for AI inference. By the way, L stands for language. Marketing to the rescue. Training, as opposed to inference, you train once and you run all of the time. You build a car and then you use it forever, right? You train the model once, you run it forever. That's why we are so focused on inference. And the results, I want to say the results speak for themselves. This is one of the benchmarks. It's already a little dated. If you go to Twitter/X today, you could see new benchmark. We have about 3,000 tokens per second record that we published yesterday, right? And these benchmarks are from our friends from Artificial Analysis. They do independent benchmarks. And these are benchmarks on other models. Or all these are open source models. That's all you can find right now on Groq. And lastly, how secure? I don't want to, but it's not like I bring you the solution to your problems right here, but at least I can tell you this, which is like in my view is very assuring for people in the industry. We don't even have hard drives on the servers, right? As I was saying, tokens go in, they are processed by the chips, tokens go out. You get the tokens out. That's what we do. That's what we sell. We sell the compute. We don't sell the chips, by the way. We sell you the tokens. One last nugget, because it's important in terms of what we're going to see, is RAG. In case anyone has been hearing RAG and wondering, okay, what the hell is RAG about? Or why does everyone keep talking about RAG? This is a very simple example that I like to use. Is when you have a model and you ask something like, what's MJ's best score? You're relying on whatever the model was trained on. So you might get a good data point, or you might get a horrible hallucination. We've all heard about those. But when you use RAG, we can say, for example, on that beautiful basketball example we've all seen that we're going to be hearing about later, you can retrieve specific data about your question and contextualize that data along with your question. So you retrieve a few, for example, score data here, and you pass it along to the LLM and say, What's the best score? By the way, you have the data right here. So it's a way easier shot to retrieve from the machine that data point without any hallucinations, right? So that's all RAG's about. And as you were just hearing from the friends from Sixth, it's sort of an art. The people who implement RAG applications have their own problems, and it's going to be a matter of you discussing things with your developers on the implementation. RAG, it's an important technique to augment the training of the models. Now, I like this demo because this is not about trashing Meta whatsoever. You're going to see a video, and on one side of the screen, on one side of the screen, you're going to have the Meta AI UI doing inference. We're asking, tell me a story. It's a good prompt for getting them to output a bunch of text, right? And on this side, we're going to have Groq's inference. You can go right now to groq.com and do the same test. But here you go. That side is GPUs, and this was LPU. So it was kind of fast, so I'm going to replay it real quick. Click on GPU, click on Groq. That was 1,200 tokens per second. As I was saying, you can now get 3,000. I don't know if that's still internal, but it's what's coming for sure. Okay. I want to talk about this story real quick because it was something super nice that happened yesterday for us. The last few weeks, we were preparing for this event, but there was a lot of, as it's typical, a bunch of things were happening in our timeline for releases and whatnot. So I was getting the demo ready for today, not the one you just saw, so something like this. And as I was rushing to get something not even remotely good as this, we just hear that Alex just implemented this out of the blue with a few very interesting concepts that you're going to hear about. But this is one very important thing for us because we are as strong as we are today because our developer community. We just announced a few minutes ago that we have 500,000 registered developers on the platform already, which means it's very likely that developers on your organizations already use Groq. You just have to let it happen, you know? I can't wait to hear Alex's demo and the story how he implemented this and how he used Groq and connected to SingleStore, especially because I was working the exact same thing. So it's going to be a great way of comparing work. But this is something that's going to be easy for you to see happening on your orgs. And I'm pretty sure you're going to love it. Summary. AI is happening, yes or yes. It's not a fad. I think we all know a few numbers here and there that makes it more convincing. It's still in early stages. There's no sin in saying, oh, we're still going to see what's going on here. It's still very early stages. As early as I'm always saying this, you guys remember when the iPhone first came out and there was an app called the iBeer? You remember? It was like a beer that you could drink like this with your phone. It's the silliest thing. We are now in these sort of stages on AI. So don't worry about that. You're still in time to catch the wave. It's been a pleasure, and feel free to reach later for any questions you may have. Thank you.